All right, man. Who's reading it? I know you can't.
After catching wind of his apparent sneak diss, Gillie the Kid fired back at Joe Budden on Twitter on Sunday by calling him a washed-up rapper while bringing up his past rehab stints and domestic violence allegations. Joe returned fire by letting his own Twitter fingers fly, warning Gillie to watch his mouth. The two also traded jabs on Academic's Instagram page, with Gillie accusing Joe of stirring up beef to boost his struggling income.
Yeah, I got videos.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is going to be great. Oh, shit, no videos.
No, it's working now. It's like every other day this stuff switches.
From you niggas, your headboard is covering a very small window in your primary bedroom. I can tell it's not like that. Stop fucking playing with me. Let's go.
I mean, New York buildings is built weird as fuck, though. East Coast buildings is built really weird.
I don't feel like that's a strong diss.
Yeah, that don't mean his house is bullshit.
Nah, that's a strong diss. Like, cause he
I get the attempt.
He watched him like close enough to where he could like point that out.
Yeah,
that's impressive to me.
I'm agree with Flocko on this one, and what he said isn't untrue. There's no like grand house that would have this. Looks like this was an addition or like a hallway window, and Joe's probably saying like this ain't the nicest
house.
Yeah,
it ain't the nicest place. Be mad at that. I can't be mad.
I get it.
Still lives in Philly, right? Like,
yeah.
I imagine that like moving out. I don't know. Actually,
nigga can't tell me Gillie don't got a bag, bro.
He does, but maybe he's not. I think he got a bigger bag recently, and maybe he hasn't started to flex that shit yet.
Okay.
So this is coming from bro. Like you come with okay. For example, right? Like Charlamagne the God has refused to like, talk about the complex list because he's mad that Joe got 1 and he got 3. So like while they were like talking about like the like, biggest podcast on the Gillie the Kid shit, like Charlamagne, let's start bringing up the money stuff. While I think Envy brought up like the complex list. So then Gillie the Kid responded back with, "Don't compare me or you know like with no other niggas who aren't doing ads." Clearly like talking about the Joe Budden podcast. So then Joe responded back with, "Don't talk that money shit if your house is looking like this."
I like how you know all of that.
You know this all he do. Sit at home
Follow
and pay
this,
attention
man.
to this shit. It's his job.
So then, yeah, fuck it.
All right, nigga said you out here selling ass? Hold on.
No.
This nigga Gillie says after a washed up rap career, in and out all the rehabs, all the beating on bitches, now you want a podcast beef. I'll beef when you start getting some ad money. The nigga Joe Budden replies and says, "You selling ass out here for cheap. Watch your mouth when you speak to or of me."
I didn't know that getting ad revenue from sponsors was a bad thing, G.
It's not a bad thing, but when like that's like the only thing that like you've been saying. Like for example, bro, like we done seen 1,000 clips of Gillie talking about, "Oh, these niggas get no ad money, man. You getting ad money." Dog, like we understand, bro. You know, like you getting ads, like you getting money for your podcast, bro. Why is that the selling point? Again, like, and there was a time in podcasting, bro, like where like the content, right? The great podcasting was dictated by the conversation. It feels like with Men Odds Worth for Game recently, like they've been like just like you know just bragging, talking shit, taunting niggas, like bring up the bag. To me, it's kind of like that's not really like a great way to win over like the masses, right?
Yeah, like this shit ain't rap music. We don't need to be doing that.
And flexing ad money is crazy, right? Because let's be real, bro.
That's tight,
bro. If Joe Budden wanted ad money, Joe Budden could very easily find ads and sponsors, very easily. Feel me, right? So like, I don't see why Gillie, continues to just use this as a selling point to.
You think Gillie? You think Joe Budden can compete with Gillie right now?
Yeah,
as far as the podcast?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Look at the guests Gillie's pulling in on $1 million worth of game. Joe Budden's not doing that.
He's not fucking with him. Maybe 2 or 3
Joe,
years
go to
ago.
guest,
I was gonna
3
say,
years ago, this would be a crazy
guest based.
Even if it's not guest based, he used to at one point. He used to just on the Joe Budden podcast. He used to do one-on-one interviews with just rappers.
That's how unimportant it was. We don't even remember that shit.
You know what I'm saying? Not saying that shit. Joe Budden isn't like Joe Budden's doing.
Yeah, he's doing his shit in the podcast
like,
world, but bro, you're not fucking with Gillie and Wallow right now.
And at one point, Gillie called Joe Budden out a long time ago, so they've been beefing. This is like something that just came back up. Like,
who is a better rapper, Gillie or
Gillie? Joe Budden's ass. Joe Budden's ass. I've
What?
always said Joe Budden's ass.
Nah.
Pump,
Lyrical.
pump,
Take a
pump,
walk
pump,
with
pump
me.
it up.
Come and take
Nah.
a walk with me.
Nah, bro.
Pump it up. Nigga, them your 2 songs, them bitches ass. Y'all know you had your little mixtape running shit. That shit hot garbage, nigga.
What
Hot
about
garbage.
Gillie's
Gahbage.
hit?
Garbage.
What's Gillie's hit?
I don't know, but that nigga barring up.
Wait, hold up. Barring up is Joe, though, bro.
He
He's
I'ma
enough
play
bars
it
as
after
Joe.
we're
Gillie
off air.
taught Wayne how to gas up. Y'all forget that Wayne was on this hot boy shit until he was riding around with Gillie and then popped up with this Carter 2 magnificent genius bars.
Yeah.
Not a
That's all I'm
quinkadink?
saying.
I feel that.
That's all I'm saying, because that's a fact. If y'all go do y'all research, before Wayne came across Gillie, he was on his hot boy bling bling. Every time I bling bling, he came around Gillie, nigga, and he popped up on that Cannons flow type shit. Like, nigga, and he started
Cannon.
tripping.
Gillie said he
That's
wrote
all I'm
bars
saying.
for Wayne, but then Wallow said that he never did though.
Wallo's in jail. He don't know. You was in jail that whole
give you
time.
that.
You don't know.
I don't think Gillie wrote for Wayne.
I think he did.
But Gillie bars go
Wayne
there,
didn't
right?
have
Like-
that type of pen. And Wayne's the GOAT. Let me not take that. Wayne is the GOAT. But at that time, he did not have that kind of pen. You don't just pop up with that overnight. Unless this is something that you've been planning on doing. You know what I'm saying? But he was already viral. He already had his own thing. Like, he didn't start off battle rapping and then doing the bling bling shit. He started off with the bling bling and then the rapping. It's different when you dumb your shit down for the culture. But when you start off with it dumbed down, nah.
Wait, question: why do y'all think though that the Joe Budden podcast cannot fuck with like man? I was
The guests that they have right now, and they're just doing more to me at this moment. I feel like Joe Budden has always been doing his shit, but to me, it's just like real stagnant right now. Like, it's not going down or up. To me, it's just flowing. You know? I feel like Gillie is on the on the up, and Joe's is just he's not
I would
going
agree
down.
with that. And
you feel me?
Hey, would you argue that the machine behind $1 million worth of game and what they're able to bring them is bigger than what Joe's able to do on his own?
Which is crazy because it's Joe Budden.
I think that
GOAT.
they, they're not necessarily doing it all behind themselves, but they have a massive machine that can bring them ad revenue in
Joe
many
choose
different
though.
ways than Joe.
Wait though, but Joe choose though like not to have guests though. Right? Like for example, right? So, look,
Oh, I'm not talking about guest space. I'm
No,
talking
who
about. I
wanna
think
go
I'm talking
to
about
that
money
shit?
here. I'm talking about ad revenue. I think like that's kind of what they're flexing here, right?
If I had to pick $1 million a game or Joe Budden to go be a guest on, I'm definitely going to $1 million a game.
well, like
And
Joe
is
Budden's
this,
not entertaining to me.
is this top list based on Spotify numbers, viewers, or is it just
I
clout?
mean, here in terms of Spotify and like Apple Music, I think Joe and Man Out of a Game or like
Neck and neck?
in the same like category, right? And Joe is number one in all
Which
like
is crazy
those
because
categories.
how longer has Joe been doing it than Gillie and him?
It's week to week though. Like
There's
it's
that.
not like a thing.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying how much longer has Joe been podcasting than Gillie and
Not much
Wallow?
longer though.
Nah, he's been doing it longer.
Way longer.
Much longer.
Way longer.
Joe Budden one of the first people to really crack off the podcast space.
Gillie them too though. No.
No, Gillie, 4 years tops.
Nah,
And maybe 3. 4 tops.
wait though. Hell no, it was no 2020.
Maybe 19.
I was watching Gillie, Dev, and Wallow in like 2018. Like yeah, wait.
Yeah, maybe like when it was like in the basement type shit. You know what I'm saying? Not where it's really, you know what I'm saying, viral. But bro, it's Joe Budden, bro. He's had a head start in my eyes. For sure.
Game, episode 1. Let's look it up. Episode 1 was, it was 4 years ago.
That's what we said.
And this was 2019.
So what's
20.
this for?
That's what we said.
And then Joe Budden
You
at least
said
about
18.
2014,
We
2016
said 4 years, 2019. Joe was already doing it.
Joe Budden
Hasn't Joe been
Podcast,
doing
episode
podcasting
1.
for like a decade?
Damn near.
Fuck no, I'm no decade, man.
How do you
It's
not
6
know
years ago.
this? I expect you to know everything.
No,
This is crazy.
Do you know how long
It's
ago?
6 years ago.
Do you know how long ago what was you left off? Right.
Yeah.
You got you forget.
Yeah.
Did you forget who was left off Bad and Bougie?
Who?
That was a long time ago when he was on the carpet.
Yeah.
talking, he been in that realm.
Yeah.
On that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course, though.
Gillie was somewhere just being a
was
Philly
great.
nigga. He wasn't
2 year
even
head
in-
start, though.
You know what I'm saying? Like 2 year start for his actual own shit.
Personal.
Yeah,
He was
podcast.
already
Yeah.
doing podcast shit before. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, Joe Budden podcast
Yeah,
was
the
before
podcast
Complex.
Before Complex.
That's like
Yeah,
saying
what's the
after
fuck?
this,
Yeah.
if I go do my whole own pod shit and then we never count this as my start. Like, yeah, you do.
You have to.
You have to. You get what I'm
So a
saying?
motherfucker soaked in all the game.
Exactly. So whatever he was on before, still, just because it wasn't his own, he was still podcasting, you know?
He did radio before this, before like his podcast,
That's
right?
still media. You
Yeah.
feel me?
Okay, yeah.
Wallow was in fucking jail and Gillie was somewhere doing nothing. Not
That's
trying to
true.
shit on him, but he was somewhere doing nothing. You feel me? So Joe had the head start. So for them to be neck and neck, that's all I was saying. I was
Yeah, of
saying
course.
all that to say.
Of course, yeah.
For them to be neck and neck, Gillie and Wallow got this shit.
Yeah. Well, people like have their okay. But my whole thing is this, right? Like, if a podcast is strictly guest dependent, right? Then like, what happens when guests stop coming on? Right? You're gonna die, right? Right?
I don't think they just survive off guests though.
now they do. Yeah, now they do, right?
$1 million worth of game.
That's what he
Yeah,
said.
now they do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I only watch them for their guests. I don't really
Okay.
watch them just for Gillie and Wallow.
Right?
I ain't gonna lie. Me personally, I watch for game that Wallow give. He be saying some shit. Like doesn't Wallow have his own shit?
His own like
Where he be talking every now and again and shit, like just giving little
Instagram and shit, right?
Yeah, like little shit like that. But no, I personally watch for the guests sometimes, but I watch for the game that nigga
Yeah.
Wallow be dropping. He be dropping some gems like that prison shit, all that shit where he was surviving and all that. That nigga be dropping some game. So I be watching personally for the shit that Wallow be saying.
And people been saying that $1 million worth of game got like one of the biggest contracts in the podcast space right now. So that's another reason why I would say that their podcast is doing way better than Joe Budden's. Wouldn't you agree?
Right now, definitely. I don't think Flacco agree, but right now,
What?
they doing better.
So is it
Joe
safe to
Budden
say-
podcast, $1 million worth of game. Then they get like $100 million contract. So that's what the rumors are. So just and
Doing
that-
better though, on YouTube, but like Spotify and Apple Music, like Joe Budden is like past them.
Is it safe to say that you like through your words have chose up and say that you like Joe Budden better than $1 million worth of game?
Nah, bro, Finn, like, okay, in terms of who I go to hear their opinion, it's definitely wait.
even put that
So
in
one,
there.
right? Again,
Dun, dun, dun.
I go to Joe Budden podcast to hear Joe's opinion on something and hear him speak. We go to Men Hours like Worth a Game to hear them interview people, right? Like to hear their guests, right? So I just feel though like that's just a way different tier of content, right? Meaning like if we're going to somebody to hear their opinion because we care enough to hear what they have to say about this subject, I feel like that got to be like valued way more than us going to like somebody just to hear, like their guest, right?
Somewhat,
I
I can
guess.
agree with you, but also I feel like it's just the climate where we're at right now. $1 million worth of game just got the youth, and more people would rather go sit with them than the Joe Budden podcast. Because it's not like Joe didn't had big guests on the Joe Budden podcast before, so like he didn't have Nicki Minaj on there. So
Yeah.
he tried to get big hosts. It's just
You
like,
don't try no more though, right? Like he's
is
somebody.
it don't try or is it just not people?
Nah, bro. Finn, bro. Like, Joe has always stated, bro, like, I want for this podcast to be self-dependent, right? Meaning, like, bro, like, we want this podcast to have people tune in every week to hear us speak, and right? Opposed to like for example, like Joe can very easily like do like the Drinks Champs route, right? Which is just bringing in all of his like friends and industry dudes and just interview them.
He not entertaining enough to me for Drink Champs, bro.
Joe?
I love Nori and them. Nori is hilarious, bro.
That fool's fire.
Nori is fire.
And
Pause,
guess what
nigga.
he is? Do you like Noriega?
Dominican?
Yeah.
Puerto
What,
Rican,
like
bro.
what? In terms of a podcast? But yeah, of course.
He's Dominican or Puerto Rican?
He's Latino, fam.
He's black.
He's Latino.
That's an Afro Latino, bro.
Yeah, he's black.
Lavino.
That's an Afro.
Yeah, like he for
Latino.
sure black.
I ain't gonna lie.
Take
Like
it.
all the great shit from him
Accept
is
it.
the blackness.
Yeah, come on now, bro.
He's Afro Latino, you know.
Oh no, bro.
All the great things about him is the black shit.
No, bro.
Cap.
Fucking
No.
Nah, he used to do a lot of Spanish in his
He's about to
music,
get
and, it
bad
was,
racial.
and it was fire. Hell yeah. Nori used to do whole little four or 8 bars where he just do Spanish.
Yeah.
You don't know Nori hits? N-R-E, Nori.
His
And
fucking
niggas
name
on
is
the run,
Noriega,
yeah.
just like yours is Flacco.
Come on, Nori is
Latin
nigga, Nori
descent.
is top. Niggas don't even know Nori
Hey,
is
as
a
a matter
top
of
tier
fact,
rapper.